Einfach der Pro. Oh, richtig auf Profit oder was? Was für eine wunderschöne Uhr.
Was so perfect.
So, was haben wir als nächstes? Wir können mal in die Welt der Uhren einsteigen. Und zwar gehen wir nach Amerika. Der gute Watch Eric, ja, hat seine eigene Kollektion released, was er so im privaten Bestand hat. Und das werden wir uns gleich mal anschauen.
Thank you for tuning in. This is Watch Eric. On this video, I'm going to be going over a topic that I've had many requests over the last 2 years. But before we get into that, I want to first thank all of my subscribers and everyone that's followed me along the way. And now let's go over my current watch collection.
Oh, richtig auf Dings ausgelegt, auf Profit oder was? Kermit, Sub, alte Sub, Yachtmaster, okay, in Stahl-Gelbgold, Sultanblatt, GMT und hier so ein Aftermarket-Blatt drin. Krasser Typ, Alter. Oh, was haben wir hier? Sub, Gelbgold, Daytona und Day 2 Baguetteblatt, Ruby. Schön. Tolle Sammlung. Ungewöhnlich, also ich hätte, aber okay. Cool. Also seine Rendite ist auf jeden Fall on point. Seine Rendite, also die Uhren, die er hat, das sind nur, also ich sag mal, die Uhr ist nicht so einfach zu vermarkten. Kommt natürlich darauf an, ob mit Boxpapieren, ohne Boxpapiere, ist ein bisschen, jetzt hat das Ziffernblatt gewechselt, hä? Eben war das doch noch mit Rot. Ah, da war noch eine AP. Ach, das Ziffernblatt ist einfach, wow. Oh, super Uhr. Ist auch sehr, sehr teuer geworden, die alte AP. Schön. Ja, die könnte man sich sparen, aber schöne Uhren. Toll. Wirklich toll.
So watch collecting is all about acquiring new pieces and changing some along the way. Throughout that process, I have completely changed my collection over the last 3 to 5 years.
War die Spiegelung der Kamera? Ach so, okay.
I had the pieces that I thought I was set, then I ended up just...
Oh, da unten. Oh, wow. Seht ihr hier unten? Das ist eine tolle Uhr. Das ist eine GMT Master, auch mit diesem Sultan-Dial. Toll.
And starting all over. There are a few pieces here that have always been there the entire time. But first let's go over my Rolex sports models.
Alter, er hat ja alles an Sportmodellen. Sehr
So the
gut.
first watch I want to go with you is my Rolex Batman. And let me tell you something, I really like this watch. This is actually a watch that I bought right before the rise of the prices of these watches soared.
Hat er bestimmt
I ended up purchasing this watch for $7,200, and at that
Ich bin einfach der Pro.
moment, people were criticizing me, telling me that I paid too much. I bought it because I liked it. I had no idea that they were going to rise. I use that watch a lot, and I love it.
Sultan nennt man so. Miami
Next is going to be my sub-ceramic stainless steel. Always a good watch to have. I actually just did a video on this watch. It's actually the last stainless steel Rolex piece that I acquired, and it just took me quite some time to get one at the right deal, and it's something that I really enjoy.
Auch
so
teuer
it's a
geworden,
great
die
piece.
Dinger.
If you notice in this box, there is 2 Kermit Rolexes. Interesting story about this watch, why I have 2 of them. And it does not bother me to have 2 of one watch.
Stimmt,
I'm
eine
just
zum
one of those
Tragen,
guys.
eine nicht.
Long time ago, I did a really bad deal with one of these watches, and I traded it for a Deep Sea, and I hated
stimmt.
it. You know,
Stimmt.
at first when that Deep Sea came out with that, you know, oh my God, it's like a supersized sub. That time the trends were going bigger. After I had the watch for 2 months, I was like, what did I do? I can't believe I traded it. So it took me actually 5 years to finally get a good deal on a Kermit. And interesting enough, the first one that I bought was this one right here, which is an M serial bezel engraved. I got a really good deal on it, and I said, you know what? It's time to finally get that Kermit back because I felt like it was one of the ones that got away. But another thing about it is that then the second one popped up. It was a V serial. So I ended up calling one of my buddies, which we talk a lot about Rolexes, he's also a dealer, and I told him, and I said, look, do you think that I should sell my M and keep the V? And he said, Eric, do you need the money? And I said, well, it's not a matter of need the money, it's just do I need to buy 2 of them? And he said, you know what? If you were smart, you would keep both. And I thought about that, and there they are. I actually have both now.
Meiner Meinung
Next,
nach
I'm going to be
mit
showing
Hulk.
you
Ja, ich finde auch
what's
die Kermit
actually
besser als
my
die Hulk.
first Rolex. This is the first Rolex I ever had, and it's
In welches Land überlegst du auszuwandern? Also so weit bin ich noch nicht, aber ich habe nur mal darüber nachgedacht.
the GMT Coca-Cola. It was actually gifted to me by my father, and he got an incredible deal that I don't even want to discuss. Back then, watches were a lot cheaper, so it's actually the most special watch that I have in my entire collection. It's the one that I would never, ever sell. So once I had that Coke, after many years passed, I said, you know, I've never had a Pepsi, and I was always looking for one. So I ended up getting a good deal on this one, and man, it's actually a cool looking watch. I like to have both. The only one that I'm missing would be the same one with the black espresso bezel. That would also be a good addition to my GMT lineup.
Schöne Uhr.
So my vintage GMT. Okay, this watch, it's actually pretty funny how this happened. I used to have a white gold Pepsi, which that is such a long story that I don't even want to get into it. But the fact of the matter is I sold it and I moved on. And when I had done a review on that watch and did a collection update of just that
Handelt auf jeden Fall schon viel, auch in seiner Kollektion. Ich verkaufe eigentlich nie was.
model, I had mentioned, because in that video I was driving my 1967 Chevelle, that it would be really cool to get one of these watches in 1967. And sure enough, I put that out into the universe, and somehow, within a deal that I was doing for a Patek, this is the watch the guy was trading in.
Okay.
Interesting enough, I tend to enjoy that watch better with that leather hipster strap than the metal band. It's just one of those pieces. Speaking about vintage, the only two watches that I have vintage would be that one and this Submariner right here. This is actually what I call my birthday sub, because a guy walked in with this watch and said, hey, you want to buy this watch? And I said, well, what year it is? When I looked it up, 1982. I feel that I have looked at easily 100 watches that are older, and never will I get a 1982. It's always an 85, an 87, or older, a 79. So when I saw this, I had to have it. Funny story is, about 4 months ago, the guy called me and said, actually texted me, said, hey, do you want to sell that Submariner that I sold you? I said no. So contrary to belief, even though I don't wear a lot of two-tone, I do have two-tone sports models. This particular one right here was another interesting story, because I actually had this watch years ago and I did a bad deal and I feel like I lost it. I sold it way too cheap. It was just, you know, I was really early into my career and collecting history, and I did a bad deal, and it took me 7 years to replace this watch, because they shot up. If you follow these watches, the prices
Ja, sehr, sehr schöne Uhr, Submariner.
have gone up with the Surrey dial. It took me quite some time to replace it, but I'm happy to have it back, and I don't think, hopefully, I'll ever sell it again. Check out my Yachtmaster two-tone with Tahitian mother of pearl dial.
Das Tahiti-Blatt ist da
I
drin.
mean, I haven't worn this piece in easily.
Das sieht man bei den alten Blättern, oder bei den alten Uhren, war immer ein bisschen Variation drin. Sehr, sehr cool.
Man, it's been a long time since I've worn this watch, but it's a cool watch, and I'm not sure what's gonna happen with this, if it will be here for the next time that we cover my collection.
Ich finde, die Yachtmaster hat sich sowieso entwickelt. Stahl-Goldmodelle halt nicht so sehr, ne?
We already did this entire box. Tahitian mother of pearls, the name of the color, Tahitian. Now let's get into more of my gold pieces. This particular watch that I have hidden behind this box is actually pretty interesting watch. Right off the bat, when I saw it, you ever heard of love at first sight? That's kind of what happened to me with this watch. And I barely wear it, and it's one of those things that I don't see myself gonna wear it often.
Jetzt geht's echt ab.
But I'm weird like that. I buy watches knowing that I'm not gonna wear them. Some of them I just wanna have them. And that's gonna be my GMT Jubilee with factory Surrey dial. When I saw this watch, the condition on it was so perfect that I actually went to my most trusted watchmaker and we looked at it for easily an hour, because the condition was so flawless on it, I just didn't understand. I said, maybe it's an aftermarket Jubilee band. You know how that goes. Usually these watches have incredible sag, but this one does not.
Toll.
It's never been polished.
Tolle
I got
Uhr.
it at a good deal. At that moment, it was a very,
Tolle Uhr.
very big stretch for me to buy it at that moment. It just was like, it was brutal. But when I saw it, I just couldn't let it go.
Ja,
I had to have it.
sind Rubies. Tolle Uhr. Tolle
So
Uhr.
this is my gold Rolex trifecta. That's the way I like to call it. Starting with here, I have my yellow gold sub. I actually did some stupid thing with this watch, and just recently I traded what it was a pristine non-ceramic sub, and I paid $2,000 just to get this one because it's a Z serial engraved. I mean,
Okay. Letzte.
some people wouldn't do that even when I
Das ist quasi die letzte Serie schon mit der Gravur innen drin.
traded it in to the guy.
Cool.
He told me, he said, your watch is as good as it gets, but this one was unpolished with card,
Yeah.
and I figured, why not?
Cool. Ja, letzte Serie. Nicht schlecht. Die Tasche von Louis nicht so gut. Nee, das stimmt.
This one right here is my
Also die Dinger hatte ich auch. Diese Watch Rolls sind absolut schwierig.
Day 2, which if you guys know me well, you know that this is my go-to watch.
Das ist die
I also
Uhr,
did a
meine
video on
Freunde.
how I acquired
Hammer.
this dial, and for me, what a touch.
Das Ziffernblatt kostet so 5.000 bis 7.000 Euro extra. Das ist echt Hammer.
Now this Daytona. This Daytona has a very interesting story. This used to be my father's watch.
Ach was.
Okay, and he ended up deciding he wanted to purchase a boat about 2 years ago. And he brought me this watch. Wait, actually, before he brought it to me, I found out that he was trying to sell it to a couple of his friends. And when I caught wind of that, I said, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Well, you know, I want to sell the watch so I can put it into the new boat." Which, at the end of the day, that's what watches are for. You can put money away there. If you need it, you sell them. And I said, you know, how much are they offering you? And when he told me that price, I was like, give me the damn watch. I'm gonna sell it for you. I can get you a lot more money. So he gives me the watch, and I ended up having the watch for about 4 days. During that process, I really started to think about it, and I said, I can't sell this watch. What happens is
Schöne
that I ended
Kollektion.
up paying my father the money. He thought that I ended up selling the watch to a wholesaler, and 4 months later, I walked into Thanksgiving dinner with this watch on my wrist. For me, it was a special watch. I just didn't want to sell it, and he was very happy that I was the one that got to keep it. And again, it was a very big stretch, but I did
Dated
miracles,
ist
and
fake,
I
das
made it happen.
erkennt man am Armband. Das letzte Glied ist zu dick. Das ist eine Dated 2 und die ist nicht fake.
So before I get into my
40er
APs,
ist
I
ein
want to bring
bisschen
this watch out because
schmaler.
I know everyone's going to ask me about it, and it's my Daytona with the ceramic bezel. Great watch.
So eine gute Sammlung, aber ich hätte keine Lust, die Uhren zu kaufen, weil sie halt ein bisschen, also gute Sammlung, so die Basis-Rolex-Modelle, ich weiß nicht, ich würde mir die nicht auf die Seite legen, aber vielleicht sollte ich mal drüber nachdenken. Ne? Mehr Rendite als bei den Uhren kann man nicht machen.
I thoroughly enjoyed this watch. I got it from my uncle. It was such an interesting journey how I ended up acquiring this one as well. And all I got to say is persistence pays. So here are my APs. This particular watch is my 44mm AP forged carbon. Great watch, I love it. It's one of the few watches that I'm wearing nowadays that are that size, but since it's black and everything is black,
Ja, ist halt
it kinda
44
doesn't make it
mm, die
look so
größte Uhr,
big,
die
you
er
know?
hat.
The stainless steel version and the rose gold for me on my wrist tend to look a little bit too big, too much emphasis on the case size. This is also the same watch that I broke playing Topgolf for an hour and a half, and that cost me big time to fix.
Okay, ja, es sind nicht die besten
Next one's
Werke.
gonna be AP
Hat er uns
41mm Chrono. Funny part about this watch is that when I purchased this Daytona, I had said that the only thing that would complete it was if I had one of these. And sometimes, you know, when you put things into the universe, and you got to put hard work as well. I mean, you can't, you know, miracles do happen, but when you put something into the universe responds. And I was at the right position that when this watch appeared, I was able to buy it and keep it. And this is one of the watches that I wear the most out of every watch in this collection. It's going to be this AP41. Last but not least, it's going to be the AP41 Black Dial.
Krasse Uhr, ja.
This overall is going to
Irgendwer
be
mit
my
einem roten
favorite
Pullover sitzt
watch
oder T-Shirts
pound
sitzt
for
gegenüber
pound.
von ihm.
Now, I do regret selling my 5980 rose gold. I sold it right before, you know, the rise of the prices, which would add insult to
Stimmt, der
injury.
hat doch mal eine
I sold it for about
59, Rosé.
$100,000,
Stimmt.
and 4 months later they were at 170. But I had a great time with the watch, and I turned a profit. But overall, this piece right here is probably my favorite watch out of every single one I have in my
Gute Uhr,
collection.
ja.
If I had to choose two,
Pride of Germany
Also my
AP ist
favorite,
keine
favorite,
gute Uhr,
favorite
was
pieces.
Preissteigerung angeht.
okay, it would probably have to be the Day-Date with the Ruby and this AP41 Rose Gold Black Dial.
Cooles Video. Sehr, sehr coole Uhren, muss ich sagen. Tolle
And
Sammlung.
that's my entire collection at the moment. And if I had to give myself a rating in the watch game, I would probably say it's a 5. I mean, let's face it, I don't have any heavy-hitting Patek Philippe's or any Richard Milles at the
Stimmt,
moment.
ja, aber solide
I
Sammlung.
tended to put all my money in the last 3-4 years mostly in sports models. Maybe just because they're more collectible with all the different variations and styles within the sports models.
Cool. Schöne Sammlung.
And one thing I want to tell
Yeah.
you is, I started off with just one watch. It just takes a lot of focus, and you gotta be constantly fighting the
Man darf
battle.
den Fokus nicht
Any
verlieren,
one of you
Leute.
guys out there can start with a watch just like I did, and keep adding money and keep snowballing it and keep growing your collection. It doesn't happen overnight. I would say that this easily took me about 13 to 14 years to acquire overall. Yes, I have wiped it out and bought new things, but as a whole, it's taken me that long. And any of you guys can do it. You just gotta work hard and focus on everything and make it happen.
Ja. Ja. Kann man nicht anders sagen, ja. Sehr, sehr cooles Video.